Greetings, fans. Welcome to All or Cricket, the sister channel for the massive hit cricket show. This is the international edition, and we'll be discussing the Champions Trophy and everything there is over the next month out there in Pakistan and the UAE. Today, my co-host Samir Malik. How you doing, Malik?
I'm great, and welcome to this new channel that Roger and I have created for international cricket. Great opportunity, and it's a great start on the eve of the Champions Trophy. All or cricket.
All right, good stuff. Samir, how do you feel about this Champions Trophy coming up? Exciting stuff.
Very exciting, Roger. I just got off a plane. I came back from Pakistan. Pakistan is buzzing, and I wish I was in Pakistan right now, but unfortunately, I had to come back for work. But Pakistan is buzzing with cricket. Even with India playing out there in Dubai, everybody in the cricketing world is talking about only one thing: who's going to lift the Champions Trophy?
Well, it's definitely sad for you to come back, fly back from Pakistan one day before the Champions Trophy. I couldn't do it myself, trust me. But did you get a chance to catch up with the Tri Nation series that was recently out there?
Yes, sir, I did. And what a victory for New Zealand. Remember, New Zealand beat India in a test series
Hmm.
earlier last year. And then, they came to Pakistan and they beat Pakistan and South Africa in a tri series. They played 3 games, they won all 3 games, and they dominated. And New Zealand is in the group which belongs to Pakistan and India. So, you know what? New Zealand could make some waves here.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a quick look at it. It's going to be a really sort of tough tournament. Just 8 teams, the top 8 ranked teams in the world. I'm not sure what the cutoff time was, but of course, and we'll talk about Sri Lanka and West Indies being missing from the Champions Trophy. But in Group One, we have Bangladesh, India, New Zealand, and
And the host.
Pakistan. India
Mhm.
and Pakistan always ended up in the surprise, always in the same group.
No, I think this is done on purpose. Remember, India and Pakistan don't play each other, and what they want is they want that India and Pakistan to at least have a game in. What they don't want is if you have a situation where India or Pakistan don't qualify for the knockout stage and there's no game. Remember, it's the biggest ticket item in the world at this point. The Pakistan India game alone is going to generate 65% of the revenues of the Champions Trophy.
No, I mean, there's definitely massive interest in that game. But Group Two, Samir, I think that's a group of death.
Yes, sir.
Australia,
Once again, very difficult.
England, yeah, South Africa, and Afghanistan. That's a really tough. Although
I think
Australia,
Pakistan, India, New Zealand, and Bangladesh is a
mhm,
weaker group. The reason
yeah,
being is Bangladesh has not been in as good of a form. They've been in good form. And I wish that somehow they could have incorporated Sri Lanka and West Indies into this Champions Trophy. I don't like this 8 team thing. They should have done a 10 team thing, and it would have been really interesting at that point. But this 8 team tournament where you can't even lose a game. To be honest, you
mhm,
lose one game, you're on the edge of being knocked out.
mhm. Tell the fans, Samir, about the. By the way, Australia. I don't think they have a strong team, the strongest
No,
team
they
down
don't.
there.
They lost their trio of fast bowlers. But hey, listen, Australia is an ICC event team, right? They
Mhm.
always perform. They haven't performed in the Champions Trophy, but I do believe, you remember, they have definitely a very strong batting lineup that could basically go in and score a lot of runs. And then I think they have enough bowlers to defend. But obviously, they're going to be, playing in conditions which aren't, going to be favoring their bowlers either, right? But we'll see as we go along.
All right. So as we mentioned, 8 teams in this tournament. We believe that Group Two is the group of death. Of course, you have the exciting India Pakistan fixture in Group One. Everyone will be looking forward to it. Now, let's just talk a little bit about the scheduling. The Champions Trophy begins tomorrow, February 19th, and there will be an exciting cricket match every day for
Yes,
this
sir.
tournament until March 2nd. So very, very exciting. We'll kick it off tomorrow with New Zealand versus Pakistan, then Bangladesh, India, South Africa, Afghanistan, and once we get down to the semifinal stage, Samir, the top two teams from each group will play in the semifinals on March 5th and 6th, with the final to be in Lahore on March 9th. Talk about the format, Samir. Do you like this format?
Yes, it's a great format. I love this format. Every game counts. They play a game every day for the next 12 days. And then remember, the only thing that you just mentioned about the final, if India makes the semifinals of the finals, then they're going to be played in Dubai. So
Right.
basically, India's the outlier in this tournament, right? They're only playing in Dubai. That's the hybrid model. Remember, we've had discussions on the other channel about the hybrid model and what it entails, right? So this is the new hybrid model where India and Pakistan are going to play in Dubai. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I wish the game was being played in Lahore or Karachi or Rawalpindi. Unfortunately, it isn't. But I think there's a lot of fans who are going to be flying over to Dubai to watch this game, and it's going to be extremely exciting. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the games aren't exciting. I think every matchup in this tournament is going to bring a certain amount of rivalry, right? That's what it's going to be. Especially, hey, listen, Pakistan, India in one group. Guess what? England, Australia in the other group. So it's going to be something. And then also remember, Australia and South Africa are in the World Test Championship, and they're going to play in the Champions Trophy. So that's going to be a preview of what we're going to see at the Lords in June. So
No,
exciting times for cricket, man. Exciting times.
definitely exciting times, and I'm really looking forward to this tournament. It's definitely going to be good cricket, Samir. It's going to be riveting cricket. But my question here, about the Champions Trophy, is it a meaningful tournament? This tournament has not happened since 2017. It's
Yes.
been 8 long years, and
I
there's
think,
the
listen, with the World Cups being played, remember we have a T20 World Cup being played every couple of years.
so
We have
many
a World
ICC
Cup playing
tournaments.
before. I think this is perfectly set up. ICC should just play this tournament every 8 years because it means something. The last tournament was won by Pakistan, and they were champions of the Champions Trophy for 8 years. They have the bragging rights going, right. So I think that that's what they should do now. Hey, listen, with the ICC, you know that every couple of years there's a new president in place and he brings his own agenda. Who knows what the next guy is going to do? But I think if they set it up where it's every 8 years, maybe not every eight, maybe every six, and that would be enough too. But there's a lot of cricket played, and I think these are the best 8 teams over the last few years to qualify for this tournament. As I said, I wish West Indies and Sri Lanka were involved, but guess what? There's still 8 very good teams playing this game.
Yeah, Champions Trophy used to be every 2 years, if you remember.
Yeah.
So
But
I
remember,
guess.
now T20 World Cup has replaced that, right?
Mhm. So I'm guessing with
So,
it being, with there being sort of a longer break, and I'm not sure if this was by design or if it's just because of COVID.
yeah,
Because
I think COVID played a part in it, but then it became part of the design too, right? So
mhm.
here's the thing, Roger. I have some very interesting thoughts for this tournament. I think, once again, remember in 2017 when the tournament was beginning, everybody was talking about, who's going to be the star player of the tournament. I think that what we should do is we should look at a few players who could be X factors and probably the stars of this tournament.
Mm. Okay.
So I'm gonna throw it out up front with one player who I think is gonna make a huge impact on this tournament, and I think that guy is the Centurion from the finals in 2017, Fakhr Zaman. I think he is the man that I think everybody should be looking at and watching. He's in really good form, and I think he goes into this tournament, and I'm looking for him to blast the ball out of the ground.
So my thoughts on that is certainly Fakar obviously announced himself on the stage back then, and I think he's primed for a big tournament, and he has something to prove. Pakistan is obviously missing Saim Ayub,
Mm-hmm.
which is a huge miss for them. But
Huge loss. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think I think the player to watch in this tournament will be Darren Mitchell from New Zealand.
I agree. I agree. Listen, Darren Mitchell, you're absolutely right. New Zealand is on fire in this
Yeah.
coming up into this tournament. Remember, once again, they beat India in a test series. Then they go on the road and they've been winning consistent cricket here. And once again, their one-day team looks as if it's primed for a run. Remember, New Zealand is one of those teams who hasn't won a big ICC tournament, right? Is this their year?
Well, New Zealand were champions of this Champions Trophy back in the year 2000. So both
Yeah,
teams are one
that's been a while. That's what I'm saying. The recent New Zealand, team over the last 15 years or so, they've been consistently making semifinals and finals of tournaments, but they have not won it. And for them to win this one, they'll have to
champions.
do it against India and Pakistan, to be honest.
So I think the good thing here, and obviously New Zealand and Pakistan, they will play the first encounter tomorrow.
Yep.
But New Zealand, more than any other team, have a lot of experience in Pakistan. New Zealand has played 11 ODIs in Pakistan since 2019. And
Mhm.
as you just mentioned, recently winning the Tri Nation Series. New Zealand, Samir, they're,
Dominating them.
yeah, they're comfortable in these conditions.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, once again, they proved that in India and they came to Pakistan and they've actually played very well. And remember, a lot of their players play in the IPL and the PSL. And these are the conditions they're playing in. Remember, even the IPL and the PSL have been played in Dubai, where, India is going to play. I think the New Zealand players are going to be very comfortable playing at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these two teams have met three times in Champions Trophy history. Once in 2000, one in 2006, and one in 2009. Guess what's the win loss ratio between these two teams?
I think Pakistan's won all the games.
New Zealand have won all the games.
Oh, wow. Because you know what? I wouldn't have thought about that because
Yeah.
usually Pakistan beats New Zealand in every encounter in the ICC tournaments. So hey, listen, but the last few years, Pakistan's dominated New Zealand in ICC events. So
Maybe in World Cups.
yeah, World Cups, all the World Cups we won. I think we won a semi-final against New Zealand. We won in 2009 the World Cup that Pakistan won, the T20. They won in the semi-final, and they've just won consistently since then.
Mhm.
But I think look, this is a different New Zealand team led by Mitch Statner, and once again they have the experience of Kane Williamson, Conway, and they have, as you said, Daryl Mitchell. I absolutely think he's a great batsman, and he plays a middle order role that I think is very important in this ODI format.
No, Darren Mitchell has absolutely been on fire. He's just one of those very, very dangerous batters and knows how to build an innings. He knows how to
And
absolutely
hey, listen,
take ball.
Roger, the expectation is that these are going to be belters. I don't know about the Dubai pitches, but I know for sure that the pitch that is going to be played here in Karachi tomorrow expected to be a belter.
Is Babar Azam's form still a concern?
Extreme concern, Roger. I was in Pakistan and everybody is talking about Babar Azam. Everybody. They're talking about if he should be opening. He opened in 3 games in the Tri Series. He didn't score a lot of runs. He looked good, but didn't score a lot of runs. He's going to be opening tomorrow, I think so. I'm going to be very surprised if Pakistan makes a change tomorrow. But there's a lot of criticism on local TV that Babar should be batting at number 3, number 4, number 5. Lot of questions for Babar. He hasn't scored a century in 64 international innings. So my question is, can he turn this around? And tomorrow, after remember this, Pakistan hasn't you know uh, hosted an ICC tournament since 1996. So this is 30 years in the making. And obviously, remember, it's still a hybrid model. So I think Pakistan wants to do well, and I think Pakistan has to do well with Babar in form. Without Babar, I don't think Pakistan stands a chance, to be honest. I will be extremely surprised if I'm sitting here on March 9th talking to you and Babar hasn't scored any runs and Pakistan is in the finals. That's just not possible.
I'm going to take a punt on that one. I think this tournament will see the return to form of Babar Azam.
It has to. I hope so. It has to.
How big a blow is it for Saim Ayub to be missing this tournament?
Hey, listen, it's a huge blow, and we were hoping that Siam would team up with Fakhr and open the innings, right? What an explosive
Man,
opening partnership would that be, right?
that would be a
But just
dream.
that didn't happen. That just didn't happen. Unfortunately, the guy just literally tore his ankle apart. I
Mhm.
think, listen, Pakistan has done the right thing. They aren't rushing him back. They said that he would be back in 6 weeks, and I think 6 weeks is tomorrow. But I think because he hasn't played any international cricket for the last 6 to 8 weeks, I think Pakistan's made the right decision. You can't risk, the future of a bright, young, talented batsman just for one ICC tournament. And if you look at it, India has done the same thing, even though everybody knows Bumrah and loves Bumrah. And remember, Bumrah hurt himself in the Gavaskar border, series that recently concluded. Guess what happened? India, even though Bumrah is ready to play, India said, "Hey, listen, we're not going to risk you. You are so important to us. We're not going to risk you."
Harris Roth also declared fit. Is he going to make a huge difference?
Hey, listen, once again, as I said, I think these pitches are going to be belters. I'm expecting 300 plus runs. Obviously, hey, listen, Tri Series is different, and when you get to the Champions Trophy, there's a certain amount of pressure. So we probably aren't going to see a lot of 300 plus games, but they're going to be very close to 300 plus. So
Hmm.
a baller like Haris Rauf, hey, listen, he's fast, but if you connect, it goes faster out of the ground.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Now, how do you see the? Obviously, we have immediately in our in our view, you have New Zealand and Pakistan tomorrow, Samir.
Mhm.
But also, how do you see our teams? What do you think about South Africa and their chance? I mean, South Africa has been a team at over the years. They've been a very strong team. They have outstanding players. They have some of the best white ball players in the world. And I'm I'm gonna say this here. I would love to see South Africa win an ICC tournament.
Hey, listen, once again, everybody wants South Africa to win, right? The World T20 Cup that was played recently, it was South Africa against India, right? And
Hmm.
everybody was rooting for South Africa. And somehow India made it again and won it, right? What we talk about with South Africa is the same thing. The curse of South Africa is that they choke when it is the time to win, right? That's what it is. And it just happens to them so often, right? Even in this T20 World Cup final that happened last year, India was on the ropes. South Africa had them.
Yeah,
And guess what happened? Somehow India wins, right? So
yeah.
I think South Africa is going to have an issue. I think, listen, once again, this particular tournament, I don't see South Africa making it all the way. Will they make waves? Can they make the semifinals? Absolutely. But I don't think that this team is primed to win this time, especially in the conditions. Remember, these conditions, remember, this is not a 20 over game, right? It's not a T20. This is a 50 over game. And I think in a 50 over game, I think there's going to be certain teams who are going to give a lot of problems to South Africa. And I think the first game is very important against Afghanistan. Afghanistan is in very, very good form going into
Hmm.
this tournament. Their players, their batsmen are scoring runs. Their wickets are being taken by the spinners and the pacers alike. And what I'm going to say is, I think, listen, Afghanistan is one of the teams that I fully expect to make it from the second group.
Yeah, I mean, Afghanistan, they have some issues of their own. Um, Obviously, in Afghanistan, there is a there's an issue, what's being called the gender apartheid, and essentially,
Hey, listen. Afghanistan's cricket team has not played in Afghanistan for a very long time. They've never really played any cricket in Afghanistan. There's been never a game at home. That team does not live at home. They live overseas, either in Pakistan or Dubai or India, and that's where they play their cricket. So I don't think it's an issue at all. I think that
right,
political issue might be created by people who worried about Afghanistan as a country. Everybody should, but it's not an issue as far as their cricketing team is concerned.
right, but world cricket, Samir, has seen these gender issues as a major issue. And
Hey, listen, once again, it's a
hold on,
war torn
they have not.
country, and I don't think that has any place on our show. as far as what we're talking about Afghanistan, the cricket team, it does not
Mhm.
affect their cricket. I think so. Remember,
Right.
they played when they were occupied. They played under Taliban rule, and you know
Mm.
what? Their cricket has improved. When they were under occupation,
Mm.
they were really playing well and they were getting going. And then
Mm.
since they had the Taliban rule, they've played extremely well. So,
Right. No,
and once again,
absolutely.
there's no credit to their local government that they've contributed to cricket at all. Obviously,
Right.
listen,
But
there's a concern for the women's team, but that's a
yes.
concern that's completely separate. And as I said, there is no cricket on an international or domestic level played in Afghanistan. There's cricket
Right.
played in Afghanistan, but most of that cricket is at a very, very local level. It's not even domestic cricket.
Right. So yeah, obviously England had considered boycotting the game against Afghanistan because obviously Afghanistan has not met the requirements to field a women's team, and there are some issues
Hey,
there.
listen,
But it
listen. Once
must-
again, England is so responsible for why Afghanistan is Afghanistan today, right? Hey, listen. So let's not go into the politics of all this. Let's stick to cricket. And what we look at right now from a cricketing perspective is that Afghanistan has improved tremendously. And hey, listen, once again, the cricketers are actually not responsible for what's happening in Afghanistan.
you're
These
not. You're not.
kids, most of Afghanistan's team, if you look at their date of births, you will realize that they were born during wars and occupations, right? So actually, if you look at their team and you say, hey, listen, their team has gone through such upheaval that I would actually say, hey, listen, this is a really, really solid team. Because remember, you need to be mentally so strong. Like, for example, you look at Abraham Zadran, who's their opening batsman. He's 23 years old. He was
Mhm.
born in 2003. So this country, obviously, unfortunately, has been torn apart. But if we're gonna assign any blame, we can't assign the blame or any impact to the team itself.
Will we see international cricket though in Afghanistan in the next 20 years?
I think we will. I think we will. If I've heard from people in Kabul that the country is improving on a rapid basis. If you look at Kabul, it looks like any other Western city at this point. But remember,
Mm.
hey, listen, it's scarred, right? Remember, they've been either at war or under occupation since the 1970s. Unfortunate. But once again, I would love to see Afghanistan do well in this tournament too. Once
Right.
again, those cricketers deserve it.
How do you see Team India?
Hey, listen, India is one team that once again everything is in their favor right now. Remember, they're going to be based in Dubai. They're going to play all their games in Dubai, and they're going to have no travel whatsoever. While the rest of their opponents are all going to be shuttling between Pakistan and Dubai right now. So, and then remember, even if India makes the semifinals, the other group, which is going to consist of Australia, England, South Africa, and Afghanistan, they'll have to go for the semifinals and the finals there, right? So there's going to be some shuttling that's going to happen. I think that makes a huge impact. I think India is well rested. Hey, listen, they're going to miss Bumrah, but going into this tournament, India is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and India is definitely, missing Bumrah is not a shock to them. They knew that
Yes.
it was likely they would not have Bumrah for this tournament, and I think they have the necessary tools, and they're well
Listen,
equipped.
listen. That is a dangerous lineup. When
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
they're well equipped.
Jaswal and Pant sitting on the bench, that's a
Hmm.
dangerous lineup. But I think they're gonna go with Sharma, Gill, Kohli, Iyer, and KL Rahul, right? And then they're gonna have Ravindra Jadeja, Hadrik Pandya, and Axar, or either Washington Sundar in the middle to lower order. They're going to bat all the way to 8 or 9, and every one of those guys is capable of scoring a 50 in quick succession.
Shubman Gill is in brilliant form, man.
Hey, listen, just imagine that Jaswal is going to be sitting on the bench.
That's what
Just
is on the
imagine
bench.
that, and
I just
Pant,
I
and
just
then
love to
Pant.
watch Shubman Gill bat. And that short arm jab that he plays.
Yep.
I mean,
Hey,
he's
listen.
a
To
beauty.
to be honest, I want Pant to be in the lineup instead of KL Rahul. To be honest, but
No,
I
no way.
think, but I think they're going to go with KL Rahul.
Pant does not have a good one-day record, Samir.
He doesn't, the reason
Or
why I
team
say
is.
that is because I think Pant is one of the players. Remember in this recently concluded Australia India series, and we were very critical of Pant, right? But Pant was Pant, right? That's what we were saying. He
Mhm,
listen, every game that Australia won, Pant was scoring runs.
mhm. That's
And
true.
remember, he's scoring those runs in quick succession, right? He wasn't scoring those runs in at like a slow pace. He was going in, he was hitting the ball and scoring those runs. I think he had what, a 60 odd something in one innings of like 33 balls in a test game
Yeah,
against Australia in
he's always
Australia.
been a he's always been a brilliant test player. I think he needs to translate that to the white ball game
Yep.
in international cricket. That is.
And then if you look at India, they have this new, leg break googly baller, Varun Chakravarti. And he
Mhm.
did very well against England. I think he's going to be in the playing 11.
Yeah, no, he's in form, and he's expected, to do some good things here for sure.
Hey, listen,
Um,
India plays their first game day after tomorrow, and I'm going
mhm.
to tell you right now, right off the bat, okay, that game is going to be the most important game of this tournament because everybody is going to be looking at how Bangladesh does in Dubai. Right? Remember, India is going to be playing in Dubai every game. So it's going to be all about the opponents, how they're going to play. Because remember, the opponents are going to be playing in different cities while India is only going to be playing in Dubai. Once again, same conditions. Remember, the conditions in Karachi, which are more comparable to Dubai, aren't the same as conditions in Lahore and Rawalpindi. So once again, it's going to be a question of how these teams make those adjustments.
What about Team England? Now Ben Duckett, he's passed the fitness test, so he's going to be good to go. So that's big news there for England ahead of their opening game against Australia. I love the way this tournament is set up. First game for Australia against against England, New Zealand, Pakistan. Obviously, it would have been nice to see India Pakistan first, right? But I love the way it's set up.
Hey,
All the
listen, India Pakistan's on a Sunday, man. You know why that is. TV contracts, revenues, everything comes from there, man. Hey, listen, have you seen something? Every tournament, when India and Pakistan play, it's in prime time. And guess what? They say it every time 60 to 70% of the tournament's revenue is coming from this game.
Mhm. Now, how do you see the England team?
Hey, listen,
Um,
England's struggling coming into the tournament. India
mhm,
dominated them in the recently concluded home ODI and T20 series. England, obviously, listen, this is a New England team compared to the 2019 World Cup winners, right? And then since then, they've done extremely well as far as, their overall cricket is concerned, but those players aren't there right now. I think Butler's the only one that is the leftover along with Root. Everybody else is, a fresh face in this team, right? You can say Adil Rashid's still there, right? But most of the team is, relatively newer and it's a new combination. I think England's going to have a tough time.
okay. Your favorites for this tournament. Give me your favorites and also give me your dark horse for this
And
tournament.
listen, England's not my favorites, that's for sure. I think, listen, I think the favorites in this tournament is India and New Zealand. And they're in the same group, so it's going to be tough for them. And remember, they're going to be playing the hosts, which is Pakistan, and Pakistan will want to do well. But given the current form and the conditions that are there, I think India is absolutely the favorites, but I think New Zealand is at par. And the reason why I wouldn't put Australia in there is because of the loss of their three pacers. Remember, Hazelwood, Cummins, and Stark, right? Those three, it's going to be you'll require a massive effort to overcome that. But guess what? Australia has, on the batting side, a lot of experience in Head and Smith that they could overcome, right? But I think it's going to be pretty tough for them.
I have New Zealand as favorites, and I have South Africa as my dark horse for this tournament.
Hey,
Between South
listen,
Africa and
yeah,
Afghanistan.
yeah, I think South Africa absolutely, but I would say, hey, listen, if any team shocks you and it's a dark horse, it's Australia this time. Because remember the losses that they've had, right?
Right?
Listen, do you remember that one World Cup where Shane Warne was banned? he didn't play, and Australia somehow won the World Cup.
Was that 2003? Shane
Yeah,
won
so,
in Marquardt,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Remember, got banned. The
Yeah.
greatest spinner in the world of ODI cricket got banned, and guess
Yeah.
what they did? Won the tournament. So
Andrew
I'm just gonna
Simon.
say,
Andrew Simon.
hey, listen, Pat Cummins is the greatest captain of this era. No question, no doubt in my mind.
Hmm.
And if Australia can overcome the loss of Pat Cummins, hey, listen, I'm going to give them everything at that point. So I think they're the dark horse. I think South Africa is not a dark horse because South Africa has a lot of experience, just like New Zealand. All their players play in the PSL and the IPL, and they've played in Pakistan a lot. They've played in Dubai a lot. I think South Africa is not a dark horse. But hey, listen, once again, we know the curse that South Africa carries along, right?
Samir, the Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Ben Stokes fans will have something to say about that as far as the best captain of this generation.
Hey, listen, they can say whatever they want. I'm telling you right now, off the bat, what Pat Cummins achieved when he won that World Cup final against India in India,
Mm.
hands down after that, everything that he's accomplished, including beating England, including beating India, once again, he is Captain Australia.
Pat Cummins, Captain Australia. All right. Champions Trophy begins tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Eastern with Pakistan taking on New Zealand. That should be an exciting contest.
Less
Samir and
than 8 hours, less than 8 hours to go. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this tournament to start.
I will be up at 15 minutes before 4 o'clock. I'll be
Hey,
up.
listen. At some point, probably the India Pakistan game, we
100%.
probably are gonna do one of those live watch-alongs,
Mhm.
at least for the second half or something. We got to do it. It's gonna be the biggest game of this tournament. Will it be the most exciting? I don't know, but it's gonna be the biggest game of this tournament for sure.
It is going to be massive. All right. There you have it, fans. Tomorrow morning, Pakistan, New Zealand, Champions Trophy action. Samir and I will be back every day to give a preview to the next morning's games and also to sort of a roundup or wrap up of the games as soon as they're complete. See you tomorrow.
Take
You've
care,
been
guys.
watching
All our cricket.
All Our Cricket. Bye for now.